I wanted to explain a little bit more about specifically how the X39 patches work because there has recently been a bit of confusion. LifeWave is actually refining the language that they use or have people use to explain what the patches do. So they're asking people not to call them stem cell activating patches, but regenerative cells or patches that help regenerate your cells, which really is a lot more accurate. So at first I thought that was kind of confusing, and after spending a lot of time researching, I really understand now why they're doing this, and I wanted to help you understand so you'll have a better ability to not only know what it's doing in your body, but also how to be able to explain it to other people. So we'll start off and just figure out specifically what is a stem cell. So stem cells are cells that are able to develop into many different types of cells. They can range from muscle cells to brain cells and more. Now, stem cells have the ability to renew themselves indefinitely, but as we age, their ability to keep multiplying decreases. So, most scientists agree now that stem cells are the key to repairing damage in our bodies. But there's a lot of misinformation out there, and with the popularity of people going and getting stem cell injections or treatments, I wanted to clarify the difference between what those are and what the LifeWave patches do. So, unlike stem cell injections, LifeWave patches do not inject anything into your body. Instead, the patches naturally turn on your body's ability to produce GHK and enhance stem cell function, allowing for better repair and more youthful feelings. So, LifeWave patches use a process called photobiomodulation, or kind of a fancy word for phototherapy. And that helps your body more efficiently be able to get the GHK peptide, in particular to X39. Now, the patches aren't putting anything into your body. The patches reflect light back into your skin, triggering specific light frequencies that boost the production of GHK. So here's the patch. I put the patch on my skin. It reflects. So my skin's going to reflect off to this, and this is going to reflect back into my skin with a specific frequency. And I always think of it kind of like a phone call. It's basically calling the GHK peptide. This peptide is what plays a critical role in improving how your stem cells function. The patch is only the on switch. So it's not putting anything in your body, but it's turning on your body's natural ability to produce GHK copper peptide. Now, GHK copper peptide does not create more stem cells. So this is where it got a little confusing. So wearing the patch will not create or increase your storage of stem cells, but they help the stem cells that you already have act more like they did when they were younger. So I'm going to clarify. So let's take someone that is 50 years old and they have a torn shoulder. Now, before you're born, you actually are given a certain number of stem cells, and we call these embryonic cells. So after birth, these stem cells are no longer embryonic cells, but they're actually stored in places in your body, like your bone marrow, and they're there for the duration of your life. So you always have this storage container of stem cells. Now, as long as we live, we're going to be able to rely on these stem cells to replace damaged or dying cells. That's their job. Something dies, they immediately get called in. But here's the problem. As we age or we get older, the number of stem cells we have actually decreases, and their ability to repair damage is going to decline. So, for example, that 50-year-old has fewer circulating stem cells in their blood compared to maybe a 20-year-old. So, less stem cells is problem number one. Now, problem number two is that the remaining stem cells we have are also less efficient at multiplying and actually replacing the damaged cells. We don't actually need millions of stem cells. if the remaining ones we have are able to effectively multiply. And that's kind of something I didn't totally understand, but I do now, and it's pretty exciting. So when a stem cell multiplies, it creates a copy of itself through a process called self-renewal. So these new cells focus on repairing the current damaged area, ensuring enough stem cells are present to complete the total healing that's necessary. Now, this process doesn't create a reserve for future damage, but rather it addresses the immediate need for repair. Think of it like this. If you have a room that you are renovating in your house, the walls are falling apart and you need to strengthen it by putting in new supports. Now, the repair requires, let's say, a specific type of hardware, but you only have one piece of that hardware. So if you only have one, you're not going to be able to finish the job. Now, let's say you had a 3D printer. You could duplicate that specific piece of hardware that you need and make as many copies as you want. That's what's happening in your body. So, in the example of the torn shoulder, your body sends a signal to your storage container of stem cells. Those stem cells are then directed to the damaged area and the dying cells. Now, these stem cells then become the specific cells that are needed to repair the damage. So, in this case, it would be like a muscle cell or maybe a tendon cell. Now, since you have fewer stem cells available, like in an older person, or if the stem cells are not as efficient as replicating themselves, then your body might not be able to fully replace the damaged cells needed with healthy ones. This is going to lead to slower healing or incomplete repair, which is what a lot of us are dealing with. Now, our body's ability to create enough replicated stem cells is what leads to incomplete repair or weakened tissue regeneration. So if we're not able to, fully regenerate the cells the way we need them, they're not as strong, we're going to have maybe tissue repair, but not really strong tissue repair. So this is where GHK copper peptide comes in. It acts like a 3D printer by enhancing the components that are needed for tissue repair and having your cells actually act like they did when they were younger. So they're going to be a lot stronger. It boosts wound healing and restores your body's natural strength by activating the stem cells you already have and making them more effective at multiplying and performing the repairs they need. So while it doesn't increase the total number of stem cells that you have, it improves the efficiency of the existing ones, potentially enhancing tissue recovery, even in individuals with a lot fewer stem cells. So in order to get the best results, and again, I want to just preface, you're not creating a lot of new stem cells to that total storage container. But the cells that you have, if we can get them to start replicating themselves, they can replicate as many cells as is needed to replace the damaged cells. For most of us that are over 30 years old, that isn't happening. So this is why the company recommends wearing the patches for 1 month for every 10 years that you've lived. So I wanted to explain that a little bit more. As we age, the efficiency and activity of stem cells decreases. Older cells become less active, meaning they're not repairing or regenerating tissue as effectively as they once did. So the X39 patch, by increasing the GHK copper peptide levels, gradually helps regenerate and enhance the function of your stem cells, the ones that you already have. This process takes time because your stem cells have been less active for years and they need gradual stimulation to restore to optimal function. So 1 month per 10-year guideline. A 50-year-old has likely experienced more stem cell decline than a 30-year-old. Wearing the patches for 5 months gives the existing stem cells time to regenerate to their optimal function and effectiveness. So, in order to gain that full stem cell activity, consistency is really important. So if you're just putting the patch on once in a while, and this is what a lot of us do, we think of it like a drug. You not you have a pain, you take an Advil, you have some pain, you put the patch on, you're like, it's not doing its job. Well, it takes time to build up in your system. And again, the older you are, the more time it takes. And then once we're able to get to that 1 month for every 10 years, then providing our body with a little bit of maintenance is pretty important because again, we want to start to create more of this functionality where these levels stay elevated. And just to kind of recap, in short, the patch does not create new stem cells. It is helping your existing stem cells replicate, become more active, more efficient, stronger, which is why it requires sustained and constant use based on your age. So inconsistencies, it's going to cause a lot of lack of effectiveness. Again, you need to be as consistent as possible, and then we can go into that maintenance category. Now, another question I get all the time that I wanted to address is, has this been proven or even studied? And the answer is yes. GHK was discovered in 1973 by Dr. Lauren Picard. And since that time, it has been researched globally and is widely used. You can find it in a lot of skincare products, but elevating your total system levels through phototherapy is revolutionary and is patented technology only held by LifeWave. So LifeWave is the only one that has a patch that will do that. And again, nothing is going from the patch into your system. Nobody else has that technology. Everything else is either topically or being injected into your system. So an article that I recently read that was published in the peer-reviewed journal of OBM Geriatrics stated, and I liked this, it said stem cell technology is a promising research area with a potential to create effective therapies for many diseases. However, to apply stem cell technology, we need to be able to identify and understand mechanisms that distinguish healthy regeneration processes from processes which may result in chronic inflammation, scarring, fibrosis, or even cancers. And so this is talking about the difference between sometimes injecting stem cells or some of the ways that people are getting stem cells. And this article is all about GHK copper peptide. So GHK copper peptide is a small copper binding peptide, which has remarkable and very well abilities to improve wound healing, tissue repair, reduce inflammation, stimulates the production of collagen, elastin, enhances tissue hydration, and enhances antioxidant enzymes, making it beneficial for a variety of organs, including skin, lung, liver, even your nervous system. Now, for your skin, GHKCU was found to reduce wrinkles, boost collagen, your elastin production. Now, your skin too is also the tissue of your blood vessels. So think about your blood vessels being more elastic as well. That's going to reduce a lot of heart issues, strokes, a number of different areas that we suffer there. And significantly, it is found to be amazing at wound healing. It has also been shown to promote tissue regeneration and help with stem cell replication. So that was right in the article. For hair, mouse studies concluded that GHK copper peptide increased hair follicle size applied topically to specific locations. These locations on these mouse studies were treated with GHK copper peptide, and the places that they put the GHK peptide regenerated hair 30% faster and had better, healthier hair growth in those areas. For bones and your liver, GHK copper peptide stimulates stimulated bone regeneration, improved liver cell function, and restored youthful protein synthesis patterns. So it starts to help your body actually change some of the patterns in which it operates. For your nervous system, studies confirmed reductions in pain and anxiety, while also supporting nerve growth and repair in animal models. Your lungs, copper peptide reverses gene expression in people with COPD, switching from tissue destruction to tissue repair, protecting the lungs from inflammatory damage. Now, other studies on GHK copper peptide have reported a wide variety of different benefits. Anti-inflammatory effects, the peptide helps reduce inflammation in skin and muscles. It improves cognitive function. It's linked to better brain health as it promotes in nerve and brain cell regeneration, potentially aiding in cognitive functions like cognitive decline, memory, and focus. For your immune system, it helps boost immune function by reducing inflammation and oxidative stress. Elevated levels of GHK support immune system health, making the body more resilient against illness and injury. Okay, we're going into flu season. This might be for pain management. GHKCU can help manage chronic pain by reducing inflammation and also assisting with tissue repair and muscle and joints. It's also effective at promoting calmness and well-being. So some studies suggest that higher levels of GHK may influence your body's response to promoting stress, calmness, and emotional balance. Overall, GHK-Cu copper peptide isn't just a beauty aid. It enhances skin, hair, wound healing, nerve function, brain function, and so much more. But I wanted you to have a better understanding how it works, how it operates, because I think for a long time people were thinking it actually is. You had people ask me all the time, are the stem cells going into my body? Like it's adding stem cells. And again, the important part of that is we don't need more stem cells if we have one that can replicate itself for where it's needed. Remember, you were given the storage container. You're going to have it until you die. Even at 90, we still have stem cells left, but we need to activate them so they can operate as youthful stem cells, not aged stem cells that don't have the energy or ability to replicate or even be strong. So I wanted to go to any questions that you guys have on that, and just let me know what you think about some of this. All right, does anyone have any questions about some of the information that I went over? Is any of this kind of new to you as far as how you understood the patch to work or how you're able to even explain it to people? I loved the idea of the 3D printer because I've heard of people, actually I know someone that has a 3D printer and they now say like, oh, we don't have to buy equipment anymore to build the houses. We can just print everything we need, which is what a lot of companies are doing, what houses they're fabricating total houses from these 3D printers. And our body isn't that different from this. So I think it's pretty amazing. And I think it really incited me to love this patch all the more because now when I put it on, I just keep thinking of that 3D printer ability. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, we're kind of going and attacking and regenerating and creating healthier systems in the body. All right.
So I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm new to this.
Yeah.
And I've just I did my 12 hours on and then my 12 and then I take it off at night. And then when I
Yes.
get up, I just put the two in two different places. Is everybody or all of us new to this? Or is it something, I guess what I'm asking, is it something where I would do for 6 months and then these stem cells have rebuilt, or is this something I should continue for
So,
like I'm 62, so is
yeah.
that 6 months?
So at the 6 months, a lot of times what we say, depending on your body, and
Right.
everybody's body is going to actually operate different. So you can take one 80-year-old, and he might actually have a lot more stem cells and even active stem cells based on his sleep patterns, his health patterns,
Okay.
been eating. Believe it or not, there's certain foods that we eat that can increase how our stem cells operate. So not all 60-year-olds are the same. Not all
Right.
80-year-olds are the same. And the damage we have is very different. What I tell people is when you start feeling like your optimal self and you notice like a lot of the things are kind of, correcting and being worked on, then maintenance is a good idea. That's where you're doing 5 days on, 2 days off. And then you
Yeah.
can keep, and that what that does is it keeps those levels of GHK high, because remember, our body isn't just naturally going to do that.
Mhm.
Now, when we stop using the patch, the repair doesn't go away. And this is sometimes what people think. It's like, oh, I'm going to stop using it. The repair goes away. But a lot of the vitality that we feel is because of what the GHK peptide is doing.
Right.
The repair doesn't change. So that's not going to go away, but we're still aging. And so, our body is going to take on new oxidative stress, and it's going to handle that as a 60-year-old, not a 20-year-old. So if
Uh,
we keep those elevated levels higher, then we're more likely when we encounter oxidative stress, pollutants, toxins, all of those things,
mhm.
for our body to handle it like a 20-year-old, not a
That'd be
60.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Does
Yeah.
that make more sense?
Absolutely.
Good. Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank
And that's a
you.
great question.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions that I can answer? And just
And
hi.
so thank you so much for this. And I know how much time and effort you put into your research. You're a true scientist, and I love it. And I appreciate that you bring all of your new information to us. Um, I just one of the things that you've been saying with this new knowledge about the fact that the patches are not developing all these millions of new stem cells that all of
Yeah.
a sudden are swimming all over your body, but what you have is actually thanks to the patch and GHKCU, the patch is able to replicate with more energy and youthful vigor, if you like. And so I just want to say that for me, it's been a little more than a year that I've been on the patch, along with Bill, my husband. And we both, it's something that's easy to take for granted. So I just want
Yeah.
to caution everybody, you feel good and you just, oh, well, yeah, that's who I am. I feel good. But I realized that so many things that I used to struggle with are no longer a struggle.
Yeah.
Consistent back pain and arthritis in my knee and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm more content with myself and what's going on around me. And that's not something that at my age comes naturally. So I just wanted to throw that out at everybody. It's worth doing it. And it's like getting up in the morning and brushing your teeth or having your coffee and you just do it and don't think about it.
And do you know, you're right, because it's like you're on or you're using the patch for a while. And I have this happen all the time with Matt and my boyfriend, that he talks about the fact like, oh, I'm really tired and I've been so tired and I just don't feel like I have the energy. And I ask him, have you been wearing your patches? And he's like, I don't think I put them on for like 4 days. And then when he puts them on, he feels great. And so that's one of those things. And I do the same thing too. I'm like, okay, my energy's been really low. And so, I listened to a video with Dr. Jen, and she had told people, if you don't think they're using, stop them for a while and see. And then everybody was like, oh yeah, I got really tired again, or my sleep was more disrupted. And the other thing that people take for granted is this is not a fix-all. It's not. I'd love to say that one thing can fix everything, but like I was, stating earlier, we are encountering oxidative stress, molds, toxins, things that our body has to work through, no different than a 20 or 30-year-old. And sometimes we get an injury and we're like, okay, they're not working, I got injured. Well, we get injured because we're active. And the more active we are, we just need to be able to realize that, okay, I was at the gym today and there are 20-year-olds with knee braces and surgeries, and we get injured because we're human. So it doesn't mean we're not going to get injured. But when you get injured, this is going to help regenerate those cells. And so those stem cells that are directed to that particular area are going to be able to replicate and strengthen, basically rejuvenate your body's ability to heal. And this is, again, not the patch healing you, but your body's ability to do that. And I just think this is such a powerful tool, but understand it is a tool. If I have a hammer is a great tool, but if I need a screwdriver, it's not a screwdriver, it's a hammer. And so you can't build a house with just a hammer. You need multiple tools. And so this is a really effective tool. But all the studies that I've done on stem cells, they say your stem cells are going to still be stronger, even using the GHK peptide. You cannot outpatch a bad diet. If you're getting really horrible sleep, you're overworking your body, you're constantly stressed out, the patch will help you, but it's not going to fix you. And so we need to do all of these things to optimize, but I have never in my 55 years of living come across any one particular thing that was more effective than this patch. So I hope you guys all, really start to experience that and see that for yourself. We are going to post this video so you will be able to share it with people. And then we'll have some of the things in there that you can have. We're trying to make as many great tools as possible, so sharing is easy. You don't have to be a scientist, but it's a really good idea to at least understand just a little bit of what it does, and just say it helps your body really operate the way it was meant to. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, Dawn has put together such amazing resources for us. So if you're not on the Revive team, please feel free to message me and I will give you a link to be able to get on there, because there's so much good information and content there. So I did want to see if anyone else has any questions to finish off with.